All right, welcome everyone. Hopefully you guys can hear me. This is Jessica Iddings. Do a little sound check really quick. I'm just checking if it works.
And I can hear you.
Okay, that sounds good. So thank you guys for joining tonight. We're going to be talking about inviting, and this is a great topic because this is really what grows our business. So let's get started and start talking about the skill of inviting. First and foremost, who do I invite? I think this is so important to really understand that we invite everyone. Because when we start our business, people, they kind of get in this mindset of feeling like they have to have the perfect person to invite. And as we grow, we understand that the people we least expect are really the people that end up loving and sharing the oils more than the ones that we thought would just flow with the business. So think about it. When you're inviting everyone, what does that look like? That means your friends, your family, other parents from the school that your children attend, people at your church, people at the coffee stand. I mean, literally sit down and write a list and don't get so caught up in finding that perfect person that you forget about the people that are all around us every single day. So if we're going to invite everyone, what are we going to do next? We have to walk them through the three doors. This is simple little tools of what we can say to them. We just want to know, are they open to learning about natural forms of healthcare? Are they open to learning about essential oils? But if we don't walk them through those three doors and we assume, then we're not giving them the right opportunities and we ourselves are missing out on them. So asking those questions, hey, I was just curious, are you open to learning about natural forms of healthcare? Have you heard of essential oils? And then remember, if they say no, it's okay. Just move on. Ask the next person. Now, a simple way you can do this is really by picking up the phone. You can call some of your friends, call some of your family, and just make it a short conversation. You can say you're in a hurry, but you just have a quick question. Are you open to learning about natural forms of healthcare? Oh, you are? Okay, great. I have a class this Thursday at 6 o'clock. Are you going to be able to attend that? How simple is that? It's super easy because we're letting them decide, but all we're asking is about their openness. And sometimes we get caught up in too much information when we start to invite someone. We kind of get excited, which we all love our oils, and it's easy to just kind of throw up on people, right? We're like, oh my gosh, did you know that lemon does this, this, and this? And you just start sharing everything, and before you know it, they're just sitting there going, oh my gosh, I don't even know what I just walked into. I'm guilty of that, right? But let the class do the work when we get them there. First and foremost, let's just find out if they're open to using natural medicine. And then when we get them to the class, then we're asking them if they're open to learning how to get these into their home, right? What did they like most about this class? What resonates with them? And then we can use the three door, which is, of course, opening up to the business opportunity. But we want to walk them through door number one first. So
Yeah.
walk them through the three doors
What
and
I like,
then move on. Go ahead,
oh yeah,
Stacy.
what I like about having that question memorized is that it just rolls off your tongue and then it starts the conversation. Because for me, that's probably the hardest part is because I am introverted. Is if I can get in a conversation with somebody, then I'm good. But it's getting into that conversation. So I love that Seth and Rod put that together for that basic question. Are you open to natural healthcare or ways to take care of your health? And if you just have it memorized, then it kind of takes away some of the fear. At least it has for me.
Oh, absolutely. Exactly. Because if we just memorize that, then it's super easy. I like that. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so give them an experience. Now, I find that with the classes that I have hosted, that most people that have experienced the oils before they attend the class have already had their eyes open to the possibilities of what they can do for them. So I think this is really important that when we're inviting, we also give them the opportunity to experience the oils before they even come to a class. Ask them if they say, when you're asking them, hey, are you open to natural forms of healthcare? And they're saying yes, and they're saying that they want to learn more. So, you can say, hey, you know what? I would love to drop you off an oil that you can try even before the class. Or or you can say, if you see them in person, hey, smell this wild orange, or apply some deep blue to their neck. And then, of course, when they're at the class, get the oils on them. Oh my gosh, it's so important. I've heard So many people that have, and this is the beginning. I'm not saying you guys are doing this. I'm just saying in the beginning, they teach the entire class and they forgot to open the bottle. We can't do that. We have to make sure that they're applying the Deep Blue to their neck. They're putting the breathe and inhaling it, putting it over their chest. But a lot of times, because you want to pre-qualify sometimes before they even attend the class to make sure that they're really going to use the oils. And I will give them a little sample pack. Say, what is one ailment that you're really struggling with? Oh, okay, so you have headaches. I would love to drop you off a sample of past tense, and then I'll drop off a little sample of past tense with this little essential oil guide so that they're already seeing all the different things that these oils can do, and it's already starting to draw their attention into, wow, okay, look at the possibilities that I have with just a simple drop.
Yeah, and I like that combination of, are you open to natural things, and then you have the conversation, and then you're sharing a sample, like you said, right there with them, or you're bringing it to them. Because I've had so many people who were totally skeptical, like just recently a doctor, and it wasn't until he experienced it and tried it himself that he moved beyond like having to see the science about it. He's like, he experienced it. He knew that it worked, so that it makes it really easy.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's go to the next slide. All right, so we have asked them if they're open, right? We've given them experience, maybe the experience is going to be at the class. And then we want to make sure that we remind them without saying the words remind, because I hate saying, hey, I want to just reminding you. So first and foremost, ask permission to call the day of. Hey, do you mind if I call the day of to just confirm the class with you? So you can do that by a phone, or you can say, hey, is it okay if I send you a text a couple hours before, just so, sometimes we do say the word remind, but I like to use as many other words as I can besides just that reminder word. I like to say, like, confirm with you, or can I send you a quick text and let you know that I'm ready to pick you up, or whatever that looks like. But ask their permission, because I think that is really important too, because it shows them that we're respecting their time. And make sure it's a quick, sometimes everyone they're thinking, oh my gosh, are they going to call and talk to me for an hour, or whatever that looks like, because our lives are busy. So I always make sure that they're just quick conversations. So if you're asking for permission to call, make it simple, right? Hey, I was just letting you know that I'm going to be at your house at 5 o'clock to pick you up, or I'm just letting you know that I'm really excited to see you tonight. Simple little phrases like that. When you shoot them a text, can't wait to see you in a couple hours, looking forward to the class with you, whatever that looks like. But try to make it that you're excited to see them and you're excited to share what you have to offer them. I love the phrase that those that you pick up show up to the class. Offer to pick them up. If someone else is obviously hosting the class, pick them up. If you yourself it's at your house, that gets a little more difficult. But when we're inviting our friends to other classes, stop by and pick them up. I don't care if it's out of your way. This is a part of what we do in serving people, and it makes them feel important that you're willing, especially if they know that you're going out of their way, to just stop by and grab them and drive to the class with you. It gives them that special time too, that you guys can kind of start chatting, and it brings up conversation before you get to the class.
Yeah, one thing that's key with that is making sure you have their cell phone, and that's a great way to get it, is by asking, because you're gonna be confirming with them.
Right, and it's important to have their information, especially after the class, so we can continue to follow up with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that just made me think about how a lot of times these are your friends or people you already know, but when you start talking to people that you don't know, to make sure that if you're sharing a sample, then you're asking, can I get your phone number so that I can follow up with you on that, or see how it worked for you, or how you liked it. And that's just an easy way to be able to get their information, is that exchange. So you're giving them something, they're giving you something back in exchange for that sample.
Yeah. Okay, so of course we invited them to the first door, right, which was to see if they're open to attending class, but we have to continue inviting them through all 3 doors. And sometimes this is where people stop. They have asked them if they're open to natural forms of healthcare. They've got them to a class. maybe at the class they freeze instead of continuing on with inviting them to the next thing. Invite them to the opportunity to get their wholesale account. Ask them, hey, which kit is best for you and your family? What did you like most about this class? What do you feel would pertain most to you in your own lifestyle that you want to see changed? Ask them the simple questions, but don't forget to continue forward. Sometimes we get this fear that comes over us that we just stop, and it's kind of like, well, what'd you think? Don't ask what'd you think. A lot of people don't think, they feel, right? So we have to really bring up the conversation of, what do you think is best for you and your family? They can think about that as far as like the kit that's best for their family, but they can't think what they just thought because they probably thought a lot of things during that hour presentation. And then, of course, we talk about membership overviews, scheduling those, because then that gives you the opportunity to ask them if they're open to sharing with their friends and family. Are they opening to learn more about earning an income with doTERRA? It's just that we're showing them that we want to develop that relationship with them and that we're on this path with them. We're not going to just leave them after we get them to that class, or don't just leave them if they're open to the business opportunity without even maybe getting to a class. We've seen that. Some people strictly come in for the business opportunity, but we still have to invite them to learn more.
Yeah, I was just thinking about some of those key phrases and how it's been really important for me to find the key phrases for me, the key questions, and have them memorized and ready to go, so that anytime there's that opportunity and it seems like it's the right time to invite people, that you already have that good question. So if it's, have you ever thought of earning a paycheck with doTERRA? Somebody that's already been using the oils for a while, they're familiar with it, making sure that you have that question to ask them. No matter what it is, that we're always inviting people to the next step, to the next step, to the next step.
Yeah. Just be open to letting them in. Okay, so another way of getting people interested is you can actually pre-qualify some people and offer them some simple little steps that's going to show their interest, right? So now, obviously, when we're just getting started, it's not always possible to send people a trio kit. But you can make up little sample kits of the lemon, lavender, and peppermint. But you have to ask them the question, if I send you a sample set, will you let me know what you think? If I send you this video or webinar, will you watch it? Because part of it is we want to make sure that when we're investing our money and our time, that they're truly going to take that and run with it, and that they're not going to just let those samples sit on their dresser or wherever they leave them. So asking them, hey, you know what? I'm going to send out a sample set to 20 different people, but I need your feedback. I'm wondering if you're willing to try these out for 3 days and let me know what you think of these. I'm going to send you this video or webinar. Will you let me know after you watch it and give me your opinion on it? And that's another great way that people are going to show interest. And sometimes just those simple little things that you can say is going to be like, they picked, 20 people and they're choosing me out of those 20 people. Or you can even say I'm, choosing 5 people. Sometimes they actually feel really important too because they're in that top 5 in your mind, right? And they don't have to know if you've said it to 100 people, but whatever it feels right. But get them interested, and especially with them in their hands. Like, I love getting oils into people's hands because I think it's powerful, number one. A lot of people have no idea what essential oils are, or they really haven't seen the benefits, and doTERRA speaks for itself. The quality, the purity, you open that and just the smell alone already has their attention. So I love getting it into their hands, but you have to pre-qualify them. Don't just say, I'm sending out to the first 20 people, that comment, but more than, hey, I need your opinion, so that they know that you're expecting something back also. And it's simply just their opinion.
Right, and if you think of, like, if somebody asked you that question, like the question there, if I send you a sample set, will you let me know what you think? If you ask that question to yourself and think of how you would feel or how you would respond, and most people, like, if you were asked that question, would be, yeah, of course, yeah, sure, totally, I would love to. So kind of playing that game with yourself to take away some of the fear that you might have, because most people will probably say yes to that. And the ones that don't, or they're a little hesitant, you'll probably have a conversation with them and be able to find out more.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, just letting them know. And I know that if I was, and I have been asked about other things, and of course, I already know when they're saying, will you let me know what you think, that I truly have to be using what they're giving me or watching what they're asking me, because they're going to check back in with me. And so I need to have an answer for them. And not only that, you want to be respectful of their time, just like um, when they're asking that. So I always find that that works really well too, is just asking them those simple questions. Okay, so let's talk about fear, because I know inviting, the one thing about it is it draws up a lot of fear in people. It's the fear of rejection, the fear of what if they say no, the fear of what your friends and family are going to think. But there's a couple things that I love. Number one, fear is just false evidence appearing real. And I think that's powerful, because we tend to overthink things, and we think that they're thinking something that they're probably not even thinking. So we set ourselves up and sometimes stop ourselves from moving forward just based on fear. And I think that if you can overcome that and just know that, you know what, I don't care. I know I have these gifts. I know I have something to offer people. And I know that this will benefit them. And I don't care if they say no, I'm going to keep moving forward. I think if you can change your mindset, you'll see that you have so many other people in front of you that are just waiting. And rejection doesn't mean you aren't good enough. It means the other person failed to notice what you have to offer. I love that quote, because some people aren't ready. It doesn't mean that they don't think the product's great, or they think that you're less of a person because you're using them, or you offered for a sample, or you asked them to a class. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them and where they're at. And so we have to be careful to not be tied to the outcome of their answer, but know that we have a message to share and that we have a product that's going to help them. And if they say no, that's okay. They're not ready. There's other people that are. Don't let one no stop you from moving forward. I've seen so many people that have been told no, and it literally shuts them down because they feel like it was a reflection of who they are, and it has nothing to do with it. Just keep going. Just keep sharing with the next person and the next person and the next person. Remember that there is millions and millions and millions of people in this world. So one no, guess what? Move on. Next. Go to the people that are working towards you, that want to make a difference in their life. Choose those that are choosing you. And don't let fear stop you from inviting people and sharing these gifts.
Yeah, in fact, this week, I had sent out a newsletter that I sent out, and it was talking about like depression and some of the experiences that I've had. And I've had people, on that newsletter for a couple years, and there were things that were said in that newsletter that was at the right time for the right people, that it connected with them. So these were people that, for almost 2 years have just kind of been listening, paying attention, but not totally interested. But the time was right, the message was right for them. And so even if you do get a no, they know what you have to offer. And things may change in their life, that when they're in need, they will think of you. They will think of what you had to offer because you were willing to invite them. And even though it wasn't right at that time, that things change, circumstances change for people, whether it's their health changes, maybe something doesn't work for them, and now they're open to natural things, or it might be with the business opportunity that now they're open because things have changed. Their job is no longer there, or their husband's job is lost, or just things changes in their life, and they're open. So even a no, you don't need to be afraid of it. You just know that it's not the right time, but now they know what you have to offer, and at some point they may come back to you.
Yeah, I always like the saying, like, no doesn't mean never, it just means not now. Because I'm sure, Stacy, you've seen the same thing, that people that you probably shared with 3 years ago are now saying yes today. And if we wouldn't have followed up with them, or simply, posted something on Facebook, or sent like you said, a newsletter, that we would have missed that opportunity to still help them. And so you can't just kind of close off to those people that have said no, but just continue thinking, I'm going to continue sharing, I'm going to continue letting it be known what I do. And that's by using the product, of course, being the product of the product, always still, giving that opportunity that they see you're having classes, they're going to come to you.
Yeah, and another thing that I think is really important is that we all come in with different skills and experiences, and we might come into this as a business and we might really stink. Like, we might stink at inviting, but knowing the only way that you're going to get better is by practicing. And so if you can look at every single time you would invite someone, this is just practice. This is practice. This is practice. This is practice. I'm not attached to if they say yes or no, because I'm getting better. And as I get better, I will end up getting more yeses. I will feel more confident. And your confidence comes in the doing. Mm-hmm. And so I recommend to my new people that come on is practice, like, in front of the mirror. Write down, know what you're going to say, just those key questions that you're going to say, so that you're not afraid of not knowing what to say. But then know that the confidence will come as you continue to practice and ask more and more people. And that's where you look at these top leaders, and why they're so confident in what they do is because they've been doing it. And they continue to do it, and they do it and do it. So everybody's coming in at a different place with different experiences, but the only way you're going to get better and be more confident is just by doing it.
Exactly. And I love, like, the only difference between, presidential diamonds and a brand new member is just time. It's just time and practice. So you can never feel like you're not going to get it down, or, well, they invite better than I do. No, guess what? We've been told no many, many times. I've been told no. And I just kept asking, and I kept inviting, and I kept sharing, and kept opening up people to those options of natural health care. And I think what we're seeing is more and more people are now looking. They really are. They just have to be invited. In fact, not too long ago, I was talking to one of my leaders, and she said that, she'd been talking to other people in her workspace about the oils. And she finally looked at, I think it was the receptionist, and she's like, well, if you want to come to the class too, I'm sorry I didn't even invite you. She's like, I've just been sitting here waiting for someone to invite me. I'm so interested. And I think so often we get distracted probably with the people that we know immediately, or maybe that we work closest with, that we forget that people that are hearing us talk, they're waiting too. The person that maybe at the post office, that they see you continually mail out samples, or they can smell on you, ask questions. If we don't invite them, they're not going to ask us. We have to be open about it and sharing and letting people know what we do.
Yeah, and I get really excited thinking about this one might be that person who has been praying for me to invite them. Because that's how it was when I was invited. Like, I had been praying and hoping for some kind of solution to my health concerns. And I was so open to it. And so when my friend invited me to try that, I didn't know that was going to be the answer to my prayer, but I'm so glad that she was willing to invite. And I know that it was probably scary for her to do that because she was new, and just knowing that we could really be that answer to somebody's prayer, that they've been seeking this, and they're out there. These people are everywhere. And so I get really excited about who am I going to meet next? Who am I going to get to become friends with and be a key part of their life? I love that.
I do too. It's my favorite part about it is just, I will a lot of times say, okay, Lord, whoever you need to put in my path today, put him in my path, and I'm going to change someone's life today, or whatever you need to say. But again, like, if you practice just the simple phrases of, are you open to learn about natural healthcare, you're going to sound so sure of yourself, and you're not going to waver, because sometimes if we're wavering even in the way we ask people, they're like, oh, I don't even know if she really thinks that what she has is great, because she just seemed kind of hesitant to ask me. So that's why I love practicing over and over and over again. Practice with your husband or your kids or your friends that are already enrolled, or your mentor, whatever that looks like. But just know that you have something to offer them, and you just got to open your mouth and invite them. And everyone should be invited.
I agree.
Okay, do you have anything else to add?
No, I just want to give you a challenge that if you're new, I would make sure that you go to essentialwellnesspros.com on the Getting Started tab, and there you will find the questions that we're talking about. If you don't have a fast track planner, all the information is there on the Getting Started tab on Essential Wellness Pros. So you can see exactly the questions, how to invite people through the different doors. And if you are more experienced, I would recommend that you get the the GoPro book and look in the inviting section if this is what you're feeling you need to practice on. What I'm having a lot of my leaders do is there's 7 skills in network marketing, and I'm having them evaluate where they think they are, rate themselves between 1 and 10 on each of those skills, and then finding the one that they feel like is kind of holding them up and practicing that. So if you're feeling that this is something that is holding you up, is inviting people, then make it your priority for the next month that this is what you're working on. This is how you're going to get better. You can go to the mentor calls, that there's one on inviting. Go listen to it over and over again. Write down those key questions that you can ask people to start that conversation. And then practice in front of the mirror, practice with your husband. But that's what I invite you to do, is to make this a priority that you're going to get better. This is not a sprint, it's a marathon that over time we're just going to get better, but we're not going to get better if we don't set those goals of I'm going to work on this skill and I'm going to master it. And then I'm going to work on another skill and I'm going to master it. And we can just take it bites at a time to get better. So that's my challenge to you.
Yep, I agree 100%. Make sure you have the class set so that when you're inviting people, you can let them know when that date is. That's one of the most important things, is those weekly classes, because if you have an event every single week, you always have the opportunity to invite someone to the class when you run into them at the grocery store or wherever that may be. But yeah, I mean, make it a goal this week to invite 3 new people or more to your class for next week.
I like that too. There's a question on here. It says, with contacts from vendor shows, do you continue to call them monthly? Should I stop calling and just keep them on an email list? And if you don't have a monthly newsletter, what do you say in your emails to potential wellness advocates? So what would you say to that, Jessica?
Okay, repeat the first question.
So with contacts from vendor shows, do you continue to call them monthly?
No, I would
stop calling them.
I mean, it depends on, if they're not responding to you, then you don't want to be, you don't want to be blocked on their email. So it depends on what kind of contact information you have too, because one thing that I love is if you have their phone number and they answer, asking them, and they say, oh no, I can't make it to that class, saying, if you're sincerely interested, then I'm happy to let you know about the next class. But if they're not interested, I don't want to just keep inviting them and then get a bad taste for what we do, So it really would depend partially on what kind of information I had on them. Now, I don't personally have a monthly newsletter, so Stacy, you might be better at answering that question. But I think that it really depends on the contact information, and if you feel like they're not responding, then sometimes maybe just give it a rest for a little while.
Can you do some food?
Hold on. So like, am I going to have dinner? No, I will come in a minute. So with that, is an interesting story. One of a leader on my team, she just recently said, because she's done a few booths, and she said that at one of her classes just recently, this person showed up from a booth from a couple of years ago and had brought somebody with her or something of that nature, and they signed up and they want to do the business. So I've done a lot of booths and have a really good list going on. What I want to say is that list is a gold mine. The list that you create from those, from the different booths and events that you do, the classes that you do, where you meet anybody, all of those people should go on some type of list, whether it's just write in a notebook. That it can be a gold mine. You never know how you will impact somebody's life in the future. So it's been said in the last training that we did last month, just talked about the list, but you want to be creative in keeping in contact with them. So if you've met people, then you've created some kind of relationship with them, and that's probably the biggest thing at those booths and boutiques that you do, is creating some kind of relationship quickly with those people so that they'll remember you when you call them back or they send an email. And when you do that, that's when you just continue to stay in contact with them. Be creative. Maybe you have a promotion going on. Maybe it's just to get them to know them a little bit better. Whatever, that you're keeping in contact with them. And you can set up how you want to do that. There's no perfect situation. There are people who are online and they have a regular newsletter. That doesn't mean that you need to go out and create one. But it's important to keep those lists of people. And then have a creative way of staying in contact with them. And they may never join doTERRA, but they may lead you to your next great builder. You just never know. So that's why it's so important with that list and trying to stay in contact with people and create genuine relationships, that you're not just forming a relationship so they'll buy your stuff, but that you're creating these relationships thinking, I'm creating a new friend in my life. No matter how that turns out, I'm creating a new friend. I hope that helps.
Stacey, do you think then with that, I mean, I don't have a lot of experience with booths myself, but I love what you say, because my first initial reaction would be like, after so many times, just stop. But what if you're just sending simple little tips like, you know, weekly or not weekly, even monthly tips? Would you say that would be, is
That's
that how
so here's how it really works in marketing things, is you give before you ask. So you're giving, and then you might ask as far as like, hey, you know, if you're ready to enroll or we're having this special now. People don't want to keep hearing about buy my stuff, buy my junk, buy my whatever. They will be attracted to you if you are offering value. So if you're offering in those newsletters or emails that you're sending out, you know, I remember you wrote down something about depression. I just wanted to send this to you. I was thinking about you. I thought you might find this interesting. So you want to give before you ask. And you give before you ask. And you'll get a much greater response from people. And don't just be giving to get. Just be giving freely, not expecting to get, but that is like the law of the land. Give and you shall receive. It will come back to you in some way.
Great. I like that.
Any other questions there? Okay, I don't think we have any other questions.
All right. Well, hopefully we just see lots of more inviting, and get confident, you guys. We believe in you. So make sure that you go out and practice this week.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye.